I had to quit my job, pack my life in 3 suitcases, and I had no savings at all. When I say I had nothing in order to prepare myself to move here, I had to keep it quiet and keep it stepping. So that's what I did. Hey P Squad, welcome back to my world, and if you're new here, congratulations on receiving your Plymouth citizenship. I hope you enjoy the shenanigans. So today, Plymouth Production presents you with a story time video. So this story time video, I'm going to split it into 2 parts. So this is going to be the first part, and then I'm going to fill you in on the next part. So stay tuned for part 2, okay? So if you guys are new and perhaps you just stumble onto this story time video, what I wanted to say is make sure you guys get your popcorn, make sure that you guys get your favorite snacks, go get your favorite drink, non-alcoholic of course, you know, we're children of God, okay? Make sure you go grab whatever it is that you guys like eating, okay, before we tune into this whole entire story time video. Okay, so without further ado, let's get down into this video, okay? So on this video, on this first part anyway, I just wanted to fill you in on the what and the how, on the what and when and where of what happened throughout, what happened to me, okay? So let me take you guys back to 2022 when it all started, okay? So in the year of 2022, I was praying with myself and my apostle and my little sister, right? We were just praying into the year. That's what we were doing. And we're just like, you know, searching for God, seeking God so that we will know exactly like what the Lord wants us to do for the year, what it is that He has in store for us. And yeah, you know, just overall just praying. When the prayer was over, and I don't know how we got into the topic of where would we live, you know, but we got into the topic anyway. So when we got to the topic of where would we live, I remember I said, oh yeah, if I were to live somewhere, I would live like somewhere like Australia or Canada or New Zealand. If not, I will move back home. Like in a heartbeat, I will move back home. And so lo and behold, I remember my apostle just like looking at me, and she said, I see you more in France. And I said, France? What do you mean France? And she's like, yeah, I just see you more in France. But the thing is, back then I was a little bit naive. I didn't really have full understanding. I didn't even recognize that was God speaking through my apostle. So because of my lack of understanding, because I wasn't wise enough at that time, I wasn't really spiritually mature at that moment. I was just like really getting serious with God, okay? And so that was the first time I understood that like God wanted me to be into this country, but yet again, I didn't know exactly that was the case at that time anyway. Okay, and then fast forward into 2024 last year, we were doing, actually within the year, the Lord was already showing me vision and also dreams as well of the fact that I would actually be living into this country. But because again, I knew it, but I didn't do what I know, because knowledge is your ability to do, you know. So you do what you know, you say what you know, you go where you know. Me, I heard of it, but I didn't know what to do with it. I just left it. I just literally just left it. I left it just like that, right? And then afterwards, in 2024, I believe it was April when I was fasting with Apostle, but when we were fasting, it was to do with a complete different topic. It wasn't anything to do with me. That thought, it was not even in my mind at all, that I should move here, that I should start my life here. It was not in my mind at all, in whatsoever. So I had things going on in my life already, and at that moment I was living by myself, renting out a place by myself, and kind of like I had a whole life built for myself, and also had goals that I wanted to do, but obviously it will require me to leave my current job place. And if you don't know, I was currently also employed. I was working in Dunn Stores. It's a very well-known company in Ireland. It's a family-based company as well. And like there's like different types of levels in there's actually 2 levels only inside where I was working at mainly. Where I was currently working at, I was not happy. I was always telling the Lord that like I want to quit my job. I want to pursue what I really like, what it is that I really enjoy as well. I wanted a big change for my life because I knew He had different plans for me. I knew that He had greater things for me than for me to just work in that area. That was knowledge anyway, but the thing is, I didn't take what I knew and actually use what I know. So I was just complaining, to be honest. I was just complaining, and I cannot be the only one to admit it. You know, we sometimes complain to the Lord and we say like, oh, we want to change. And then when it comes time for a change, we're like chickens, you know? Ooh, I hope I do not fall on this seat that I'm sitting on. So that's what happened. In that April when we were fasting, I felt the presence of the Lord come in on that day too. The presence of the Lord just filled the whole entire room. And then afterwards, I heard the Lord shouting in my ear saying, pack your bags and move to France, and I'm not going to say it to you again. He said, pack your bags and move to France, and I'm not going to say it to you again. Hey, when I heard that, guys, I was like, first of all, I was like, wait, what? Do you know what I mean? I'm just so shocked. I was completely shocked. I was just like, what? And then like, I told my apostle, I was like, girl, the Lord said this and this. And then she goes, well, I've been telling you for the past years. I was like, wait, what? Like, when I tell you, I did not know. Like, I knew, but I chose not to know in a way, to get me. And so, long story short, the thing is, I was being disobedient because I already knew the Lord spoke through my apostle. I already knew from dreams and visions, but because of my lack of understanding, and also I was a little bit, to be honest, I was a bit selfish because I knew better to go and, you know, and ask the Lord for clarity. I knew better to do that than to just, you know, stay and do nothing about what I know. I knew better not to do that, but I did it anyway. I was disobedient. But when the Lord spoke that, I knew like I had 2 choices: either to say yes to Him and do what He says, and and do what He says and follow His plans that He has for me, or I can continuously choose to be disobedient and continuously, you know, remain where I am, be discontent, and then I'll complain. But this time will not be God's fault because He's already given me plenty of time to actually go to Him and actually make a decision and to follow Him, you know. And this time I was like, okay, if I really say I love the Lord with all my heart, with every single part of me, then I'm gonna do what He wants me to do, right? So I was like, okay, all right, I'm gonna follow the Lord. And then I literally basically had under 2 months to fully prepare everything. And even when I got here, I was not fully prepared, to be honest with you, because I came actually here in 2022 for my birthday, because I had family members here. I only discovered that I had family members from my mother's side over here, and I wanted to like discover them, who they are and stuff like that. So that's why I basically came here to discover them. Even though when I came here, there was a lot of people saying to me, yeah, you should stay here, you should stay here, you should stay here. But did I listen? No, I did not listen at all. Again, so fast forward, I basically, even though things were going around in my life, so I was like, okay, do you know what? I'm just going to do what the Lord says and I'm going to move. So I had to quit my job, pack my life in 3 suitcases, and I had no savings at all. When I say I had nothing in order to prepare myself to move here, it's just like whatever income source I had from work in those stores, that was basically what got me here, to be honest with you. And at the time, my apostle helped me. I asked her to write me a letter of resignation. So when she wrote that, she's actually the only person at the moment who actually knew, because looking back now, the Lord told me to not say it to anyone. And the reason why, it's because back then I was very influenced by other people and what they would say. I was people pleasing a lot as well, and because I grew up as accustomed to actually do so, you get me? So it was only, a matter of time for it to be manifesting out in the physical. So I had to be quiet, pack and be quiet and move with discretion. And I had to keep it quiet and keep it stepping. So that's what I did. I kept it quiet, kept it stepping. Thank God I had my apostle with me, because she pushed me to come here, because I won't lie, there was a moment whereby I was like, I'm not going to do this. And then she's like, you want to disobey the one that made heavens and earth, the one that died for you? I was just like, oof, now you put it like that. No, I don't want to do that. I do not want to do that at all. So I gave my letter of resignation to my manager. She was even shocked the fact that I'm even leaving, because I was coming up to like 5 years in that company, even though like I always wanted to leave that company so much. For years I knew I was not meant to be there. I was not meant to be there at all. It sustained me in the time whereby I needed to be sustained at, but I wasn't necessarily meant to be there. And she was shocked. She was asking me like, why am I moving and stuff like that. I just said it's just a new opportunity for me out there, and I will help someone. That's what I just have to say, because technically that there was opportunities for me here, and I did have to help someone, and I did help out other people as well. That's why I just have to tell her, because she's an unbeliever herself. She's not a believer, and she really saw me as that I will stay in that company for years and years, simply because I don't have a full degree, because I dropped out of college, because they were paying everything that I taught myself for free, and I was paying them money. Like, why would I pay money for something I'm just learning for myself? So yes, so that's what happened. I bought my suitcases literally like a week and a bit. No, it was literally on the same week that I had to leave. My suitcases came, and I think it was on a Monday it came. Thursday, my pastor at the time, I just told him on a Thursday call, he prayed for me and everything. Everyone found out. They're like, oh, why didn't you tell me? We could have prepared, we could have did this. I'm like, guys, the Lord told me to keep it quiet. I have to be obedient because I was already disobedient to him for many years when he was telling me to move. So yeah, you guys, this part, like the English language has left me. So I do apologize for messing up words. Yeah, nobody in my family knew. Some friends that I call friends, they didn't know. People in my churches, they did not knew that I moved here in France. So even some people in my family, both in family and also my church that I grew up, they're only finding out, like even right now, that I moved. That it's not a joke, that I actually I dipped. I dipped, okay? And so I had 2 months to prepare, quit my job, packed all my stuff, the mountain of clothes I left, and the shoes I had to like get rid of. It was, even those things, I even need them right now. But anyways, so all I'm trying to say is I give God my yes, and here I am. That's the reason why I moved to France. It's because God told me to move here. I did not move here in my own accord, as you have heard, because for you to go and move to a certain country, just don't go move because you want to move. Always get God's yes on it, because if God's yes on it, then his hand is on it, and he will never leave you nor forsake you if he tells you to come to this country, and that's one thing I learned anyway, because he wanted me to grow. He wanted me to really develop myself. I couldn't no longer stay in that position where I was. It wasn't serving me. It wasn't serving his kingdom. It wasn't serving anyone really in particular. So that's why he told me to move here. And also in the background, I had stuff that's coming around my life that I'm praying that the Lord to do his big one. But for all of that to happen, it required me to actually move to this country. So when did I move to this country? I moved last year. June, the 22nd of June 2022. That's when I moved to France. And in that year I traveled, within the year I traveled to London, met up with my apostle and stuff like that. But I thank God that I had her with me, because if I did not, girl, I would have been living in fear, broke, and complaining that nothing is going right in my life. And that wouldn't be God's fault. It would literally just be my fault, because I decide, because at the end of the day, it's like we have free will, And if you have free will, you can decide to either follow God or not follow God. At that case, beforehand, I was being disobedient, and now I decided to actually follow God, And it's not an easy thing to do, but at the end of the day, it is God's will for your life, and it's not your will, because at the end of the day, he sticks to his word, and he does exactly what he says. He's not a man who can lie. So I thank God that I'm here. So I'm gonna pause it right here for this story time video. Stay in tune for part 2, because in part 2 I'm gonna go further to explain like what happened and stuff like that. I'm also gonna be I'm also gonna be inserting some videos even the day before I left, explaining a lot more, even on the day, what happened, what was my emotions and stuff like that, and also overall what would be your takeaway experience for this whole entire video. So stay forward for part 2. Okay.